Okay, so the challenge is nearing on the end. When I get to these points, do you know what I do? I get excited. I get reflective over what has been, so the journey, because that's the exciting bit. And I'm also thinking about what's next. So it's kind of like a whole combination of different things. So the challenge I've got left for February is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you'll see all this in the data in a bit. But it's it's kind of that feeling, that beautiful rush of getting to the finish line, and it kind of emanates, it kind of builds up within, particularly as I get nearer to the end. It feels awesome. It really, really does. When I look back now and I think about when the challenge started, the beginning of Feb, and if you remember, like just going through those numbers and struggling with the gymnastic ring steps, and then like yesterday, honestly, the human body, human beings, we're remarkable creatures if you think about it, because I had no idea that my bounce back ability would be what it was yesterday. So getting to that point where I did more ring steps and I hit that 5 reps max per set, I genuinely didn't expect that to happen. So the fact that I did, I'm like, that is awesome. So it does definitely, it's a nice peppy feeling. It's a good feeling, and I do acknowledge it. But of course, I've got more to go today. So there's more pull-ups to do today, and there's more ring steps, and I'm looking forward to it. My focus will always be 1 rep at a time. That is a discipline, and I stick with that, and it makes sense to me in so many different ways, because when I focus on 1 rep at a time, it reduces overwhelm. It reduces the thoughts of thinking about the large volumes of reps that I'm going to be doing, and it keeps me present in that moment. And the truth is, that is the reality of it. That is the moment to be in, that present moment. So focusing on my breath work, focusing on all of those precision techniques that get me into performing that movement, and it feels awesome. And when I get to the end, I celebrate, because that's something achieved, that's a milestone achieved, and that's important. That really is important. I couldn't advocate any higher for having those milestones, those moments of gratitude, those moments of acceptance, being in that present moment and reflecting on getting to that point. It's beautiful, it's important, it's part of the growth journey. So I'm going to get to it. I'll see you soon. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on some different type of stretches now. So what's really important is that I just really connect with myself. And one of the things I like to do is really stretch out and focus on all the bits around the arms and the back and the shoulders, and really dig in and really stretch and just sort of move around. So right now I've got my elbows placed on the floor, and I'm just gently moving my spine around and just feeling all the vertebrae just moving around. Of course, utilising different types of muscles, so the obliques, the serratus, the core, essentially just moving all that around. So I'm just on my knees at the moment, so it's just the midsection that I'm focusing on. What I'll also do is I've got my feet ever so slightly together, place my hands on the floor, and I'll just allow my body to move around. There's no specific set movement that I focus on at any given time. Sometimes I just like to just feel those little knots, those little pain points stretch out. Just be one with myself and just really connect. And then following this, I'll focus on some hanging, some dead hangs, some scapular raises, before getting into the pull-ups. I always like to do the pull-ups first. Pull-ups first. Reasons behind that, honestly, it's just a preference. I just feel like when I'm more warmed up from doing the pull-ups, it's a nicer transition for me to then go into the gymnastic rings dips. That just sort of works for me. I've done the rings dips first and then gone into the pull-ups, and I didn't enjoy that transition as much as the other way. That is literally it. So I always try and sink into enjoyment with regards to what I'm doing, because it's important. So I'm always listening to myself, always getting that mind-body connection to think about what feels good for me. So right now I'm just focusing on some hand placements, spreading out my fingers, just sinking into the wrists, some gentle rotations. Just helps with a warm-up. And then do you remember that little manoeuvre that I do? So I put my forearm flat, and I sort of push from that little part of the wrist. I don't know whether you heard that crack. Feels good. Get rid of those air pockets. The truth is, as I progress on with the pull-ups, I naturally warm up. So that's just a natural process. Get that blood flowing, warm up the ligaments, the tendons, the muscles, that WD-40 effect. Lotion in motion, something like that somebody said once. Yeah, lubricate those joints, get them moving around. Okay, so for today I'm going to use this straight bar. So I've not used this yet, and it's ever so slightly thicker than the other bars. So here is going to be the challenge for today. 1, the bar's ever so slightly thicker, and 2, there are no mark points where to place my hands. So I'm really going to have to dig into that memory recall and try and focus on getting that hand placement each time. But I want to try this today and just challenge myself. So I'm going to put more chalk around this part of the hand, and the reason for that is because the bar is ever so slightly thicker. So I'm going to use more of these parts of the skin. I know that from experience. Listen, I'm excited. Let's get to this. Let's get to these pull-ups with this big bar. Okay, here's the feedback on the bar. Wow, where have you been all my life? Amazing, really, really nice. So the bar, I don't know how thick it is, if I'm honest. Maybe 2 inches, something like that. I have no idea. Let's take a look, hang on. This is it, I have no idea. But it's lovely. So I'd probably say getting into this on the straight bar, that's what I'm used to doing, the straight bar, if I'm honest with you. That's what I've done like thousands and thousands on. But obviously I've been doing thousands and thousands on the angular bar just over there. Preference, probably this bar, if I'm honest with you. Is it more difficult? Is it more challenging? Well, I'd say, okay. The angular bar, I'm going super wide and it's slightly angled, and I notice that there's a little bit of a pain point on the elbows, but that goes after about, say, 100 pull-ups, something like that. With this, there isn't that pain point on the elbows, but the difference is with this, I can't get that exact precise hand placement, meaning I could be a few millimetres out either side, or in the aggregate, if you will, when doing the hand placement, because there's no markers on the bar. If there was etched markers in the bar, it would make it a dream, because I'd be able to get that precise hand placement. And there or thereabouts, I'm going off what feels good, but I couldn't guarantee that every single hand placement that goes on the bar is going to be that level of precision technique. All I know is it's going to be pronated grip, thumbs over, but I don't know the exact measurement either side. So that is a bit of a concern when I'm going large volume. For me, anyway, I like to get the process down to a T, as you know, super detail orientated. But listen, I'm really, really enjoying it. So let's get more done. Okay, I'm into block 6 at the moment, and there's something that I just noticed with the rings being on this straight bar, and they started to, over time, just slightly edge out like this on either side. So technically what was happening as I was going wider and wider and wider, and it did affect my form, so I stopped and thought, what's happening here? So for me, I prefer to have them slightly narrower, because of course as you go down the straps, they move out to align with your body anyway, but I prefer it to be narrower up top, maybe shoulder width apart, something like that. So I thought I'd share that tip with you. You know what, it's been an amazing session today. So doing the pull-ups on the big bar, on the wider bar, absolutely incredible. Honestly, really, really good. I enjoyed it. I got Louis to film me doing some pull-ups, which you saw. I was I was really giddy, so I just blasted those out. So yeah, it was fun. Do you know what? Today was fun. I enjoyed it, and I think that's really important. So important. So since training now, I've spoke to 2 completely different people that are on their own fitness journey, and that is the common thread. That is a solid foundation. Enjoying what you're doing. So I've just spoke to 2 completely different people doing completely different types of fitness challenges, and I said, so how are you getting on? You're enjoying what you're doing? And they both said in their own way, yeah, I'm really enjoying doing it, or I'm loving what I'm doing. This is how it's going. And you know, it's the same thing for me. Enjoyment plays a huge part, because if I didn't enjoy what I was doing, then it would feel like I was completely wasting my time, and I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. There's so much enjoyment that I get out of it, though. So there's the hormone releases that you get when you exert high levels of endurance performance. So for me, when I get into that zone and I've been training for 30 minutes, 1 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it may be, when I start to get deeper into it, it just feels good. My body really, it wakes up. I get all of those nice, good sensations that you get. And I know that I'm working towards something. I'm developing myself physically, but I'm also developing myself mentally. And the bit that I'm going to share with you, and I think you already know that if you've been following me on this journey, is that when I get into the zone, when I get into that level of hyper-focus, when I'm doing particularly an exercise for a big period of time, I like to read. So I like to get that mental stimulation. So I listen to audible books, I listen to Blinkists, I listen to podcasts. So I like to absorb different levels of knowledge, and that's a good way of me doing it. And the reason why I do it is it's good. It's good habit stacking for me. So if you think about it right now, if I'm doing, say, 300 pull-ups and say 300 ring steps, I'm in a certain spot for a period of time. So that level of exercise that I'm doing, it's systematic, it's routine-driven exercise. I'm not going from one destination to the other. I'm not getting my heart rate going so it's super, super high. and I'm completely exhausted, I'm going for the distance. So I'm focusing on my breathing, keeping my breathing nice and controlled, focusing on that precise movement, but I'm there for a period of time. So when I've got my AirPods in and I'm listening to an Audible book and I'm really enjoying that book, invariably I read non-fiction books. So I'm learning something new, and it's incredible. And that ability to learn something new whilst physically training on that muscular endurance for that period of time, those two just work for me. Because if I took myself in isolation and said, right, okay, go and read a book, go and read your Audible book, your Blinkist, whatever it may be, just go and do that. I could do that. I could just go and do that, but that's something that I'd have to allocate and schedule time in to my day to do. So that's why I start the habits. So that's why I love training the way that I train, because it keeps me in that zone for a lengthy period of time. And when I come out of it, I can say, right, I've done X number of pull-ups today, or X number of ring steps. And you know what? I've been reading a book on this, that, and the other, and I've learned this. And it's beautiful. It's a great way of gaining knowledge. I think there are so many different ways to gain knowledge. YouTube's a great place to gain knowledge. So you've got the visual side of it, and you're listening and you're seeing what's going on. Audible books, podcasts, reading books, whatever it is, there are so many different ways. There isn't one way of gaining that knowledge. But then, of course, once you've got that knowledge, what do you do with it? What do you do with that knowledge? So I like to talk about the books that I read, the knowledge that I'm gaining, and trying to apply that for myself, for my own personal development. And it's a game changer. Honestly, it really is. So yeah, today has been an immense session. And you know what? I might stick with that straight bar. In fact, this is my feedback on the pull-ups. So as you know, I've been doing the angular super wide grip for ages now, and I really do enjoy that. I really do enjoy it. It really hits up the lats in a different way. It's just a different way of training, but it does seem to put a little bit of stress on the elbows, and I've noticed that. So today I've done all of the pull-ups on the straight bar, maybe not as wide as what I do on the angular bar, but pretty wide. You could see in the video that Lou filmed, and I've enjoyed it. And there's no niggles or pains around the elbows. So I might continue with that way of training. But you know what? I can shake it up, I can change it up. But the main thing is I'm sticking to all of those precision techniques that I focus on. So the hand placement. Hand placement's going to be a bit different when I go on the straight bar, unless I can exactly measure out from this end to that end. So it is a little bit of a almost a little bit of a guessing game, but once I've got into the rhythm and the flow, it's just hand placement straight on, and I listen to my body and I connect to it, and then I focus on everything else. So yeah, really, really good. Really, really good. Sometimes it's good to change up things. Okay, so you know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know what I'm going to say. Listen, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and genuinely now, thank you for staying with me on this journey. I'm getting excited as the end of the challenge is almost there. And I don't know what I'm going to do for March yet. I genuinely don't know, but I'll sort something out. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so that is day 17 done. Let's have a look at the data where we're at. So 325 pull-ups achieved today, 600 pull-ups remaining, 345 ring dips achieved today. I'm really, really impressed with that. Yesterday and today have been 5 reps max per set, which you'll see at the end of this YouTube video. And it's beautiful, honestly, to get to that point, to just think that this has changed so much from this is it's a really good feeling that which I talk about in previous videos as to why that's been the case. But yeah, so 690 ring dips remaining. This is where we are, people. 2 days left. Wednesday, Thursday. We've got the cheeky little leap year extra day in there. So, can I do it? Will I do it? Well, you'll have to stay with me to find out.